Good evening, viewers, and welcome to this 2019 Year in Review. Another year of accomplishments and failures. Another year of smiles and tears. Another year of heroes and zeros. However, it was an exciting year nonetheless, and one worth recounting. We start with athletics. Adrian Williams of Nevis captured his second gold medal in consecutive weekend meets in the men's javelin throw at the University of Southern Mississippi Open Meet, held April 26th to 27th. The finals, Adrian Williams, the winner, Jenard Paul second, Cole McKnight third, James Watson fourth, Jeremy Hickbottom fifth. Meanwhile, Charlestown Primary does it in convincing fashion. Inevitably, as the Gulf Insurance Inter-Primary Athletics Championship for 2019 peaked with the final event for the day, the 4x400 meters relay open for boys, it was the Orange leading the way to the finish line. The defending champions Charlestown Primary ended the day just the way they started it, blowing away the competition. Invariably, the other schools gave it their all, and there was a point in the contest when St. Thomas's Primary may have been harboring thoughts of a sneak-up, but the CPS lads and lasses would have none of it. All of the schools and all of the athletes gave it their all. New Kids on the Block, Nevis Academy even picked up one or two significant medals. So too did St. James's Primary. However, when the CPS team was not collecting gold medals, they were generally in the mix with either silver or bronze, and the points kept adding up. All of the age categories saw athletes constantly testing their skills against one another, and they must be heartily commended for putting on a great show for a bumper crowd, which was estimated to be even bigger than recent years. It was a lot of noise, hair sprayed in various colors, costumes, and yes, the signature attires. It all blended to make a marvelous day, which at one point was threatened by inclement weather, but it held up sufficiently for the CPS team to make their lap of honor and place their hands once again on the grand trophy. Final points, Charlestown Primary 218, A-Zone champions and overall champs, St. Thomas's Primary 184, Joycelyn Liebert Primary 138, Ivor Walters Primary 131, Elizabeth Pemberton Primary 69, and B-Zone champions for the 9th consecutive year, Maud Cross Prep 52 points, VOGN Primary 48 points, Nevis Academy 18 points, commendations there, St. James's Primary 15 points. Well, let's go now to the Mondo track and pick up some of the action.
The noise is going to start now. Looks like Charlestown Primary. I'm seeing Orange. I'm seeing Joycelyn Liebert, I think it is. I'm seeing St. Thomas's. My goodness, St. Thomas's is cleaning this one up by a long way. St. Thomas's. And I think VOGN and Joycelyn Liebert Primary was somewhere in the mix. They're off and running. They're off and running. Who is leading the pack at this point? Looks like, well, as they get closer, it looks like VOGN, and by a long way too. VOGN by a long way. She has been a dynamo all afternoon. I got you. Well, we're about to start. We're off and running. And let's see who is leading this one. Another tight race. I'm seeing CPS. I'm seeing, it looks like St. Thomas's. It looks like, well, I'm not sure if it's St. Thomas's, but he has pulled away by a long stretch. My goodness, he took, and he puts his hand in the air. It's St. Thomas's. You can hear the shout, 253. They're off, clean start. The grade 3 girls out of the blocks quickly. Somebody's struggling in the middle there. But it looks like St. Thomas is pulling away. St. Thomas is pulling away. But Joycelyn Liebert, it is getting close, but not good enough. And it looks like St. Thomas's Primary. They're on the starters orders. Clean start. Grade 3 boys. I'm seeing Joycelyn Liebert. I'm seeing Charlestown Primary. I'm seeing St. Thomas's. Joycelyn Liebert seems to be holding on. St. Thomas's is just about. Hey! Well, that was close. Set. Clean start, folks. Let's see who is leading this one. Well, it's a rush. Charlestown Primary on the outside looking good. St. Thomas is looking good. Joycelyn Liebert looking good. But it's Charlestown. Well, it's girls. Yeah, I thought it was the boys, but it's the girls who came down. Clean start this time. How are they juggling? How are they juggling, folks? How are they juggling? 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 It looks like Charlestown. It looks like Charles. It looks like maybe Ivor Walters. They're off and running. The red flag was up at the finish line, so this race might just be disqualified. But Charlestown Primary is pushing out. A challenge now, challenge now, challenge now. Well, that looks like maybe Ivor Walters. Clean start, a little bit slow out of the blocks. But where is Charlestown Primary? She's there. And there's also Joycelyn Libert Primary. Tiana is pushing. Charlestown Primary is pushing. It's going to be a close finish. 4 of them almost at the line. Well, Kent is for Ivor Walters. Here they go. Where are they? It looks like Kent is struggling with Viogen and St. Thomas's. It's Kent and Viogen. It looks like Kent. It looks like Ivor Walters. They have a clean start this time. 1 or 2 of them moved a little sluggishly this time, but the race is definitely on. As it looks like Joycelyn Libert and Ivor Walters tumbling at the top, and Charlestown on the outside. I'm not too sure.
Meanwhile, the National Weight Loss Campaign launched. Even though the numbers did not fully represent the long list of individuals who have signed up for the National Weight Loss Campaign, the number of persons who showed up for the official launch on the National Weight Loss Campaign on Friday, 15 February, was deemed as encouraging by Chief Coordinator of the program, David Walwyn. In his introductory remarks, Mr. Walwyn pointed out that the major reasons for weight gain is poor dieting habits. He explained that the weight loss campaign not only featured rigorous exercise programs, but that a lot of emphasis was placed on inculcating proper dieting habits and proper nutrition. Many of the medical experts who are assisting with the program were also on hand to give brief motivational talks. The individuals present were also led into a rigorous soca-size session. However, the highlight of the afternoon was the weighing, and some of the key persons who have already started the program. The results were as follows. Honorable Eric Evelyn started January 21st, he weighed 206 pounds and he lost some 10 pounds, now down to 196. Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams starting January 21st, starting weight 243 pounds and she lost some 5 pounds down to 238 pounds. Mrs. Sharon Brantley, February 1st start date, weight 166 pounds and total weight lost 6 pounds down to 160. Abigail Douglas started January 21st, 232 pounds and now down to 228 pounds, lost some 4 pounds. Jackie Hunkin started January 28th, starting on 186 pounds and now weighing 180, down by 6 pounds. Dr. Raymond Rohan Moven started December the 1st, 2018 with 205 pounds, down to 180 pounds, losing a whopping 25 pounds. Total combined weight up to that point is 56 pounds lost. The NWLC weight that has been set for 10,000 pounds, 6 months would have been the set target date, and I don't know if it was achieved, but we go to this session. Let's take in this.
Eric has lost 10 pounds.
So listen, I know it couldn't have been easy. So what have been the challenges for you?
Well, of course, the challenge is always, you need to be very committed, you need to be very disciplined, especially when you're doing exercises, and especially with the diet, of course. So I have tried extremely hard. It's not been easy, but I'm determined that this belly needs to come down.
It was 5 pounds. Okay, 5 pounds.
There were quite a number of challenges. The list is so long. But cheated once or twice. That was a challenge. But I think, as he said, I have corrected those. I have a back issue, which give me some challenges, doing the exercises. But all in all, I'm encouraged.
Tuesday, the 12th February, was a historic day for the students and teachers at the Cicely Brown Integrated School. On that day, the school hosted the first ever cross-country race in the history of the institution. The top results were as follows: higher functioning students, boys, first, Unique Paris, second, Kijonte Hobson, third, Andrew Samuels, fourth, Hildreth Tross, fifth, Jelani Herbert. Higher functioning girls, first, Malia Dore, second, Octavia Stanley. Low functioning students, boys, first, Malachi Clark, second, Zion Stapleton, third, Jerry Grant, fourth, Kimani Bello. Low functioning girls, first, Zakia Dore, second, Sienna Richards. In the teachers' parents race, there was a close finish between teacher Jennifer Liebert and parent Landis Smithon. However, the photo finish apparatus was not available to confirm the actual winner. The Nivision contingent of the St. Kitts Nevis team that represented the Federation at the recently concluded Special Olympics World Games held in Abu Dhabi was celebrated in a huge way on Tuesday, 26 March. The athletes who returned home on Saturday, 23rd and Monday, 25th March, respectively, were honored in a huge motorcade which commenced at the Cicely Brown Integrated School. Through Prospect, Cherry Garden, Main Street, Charlestown, Pinnes, Coddock Road, back to Charlestown and then back to the school. We take in some excerpts.
There's one lady waving there. So it's all about celebration, folks. It's all about celebrations, folks. We're in Charlestown Central. The folks are out. Digicel, one of the big sponsors, I think. Yes, we just went past Digicel. We get in the moment, enjoying the moment. They're all here, folks. Enjoying the moment. We're in Charlestown proper, and the folks are out in their numbers, and it's all about celebrating with our Special Olympians. Round of applause here, big round of applause. They're applauding.
The much-anticipated Bank of Nevis Inter-High Schools Championships was held at the Nevis International Stadium, aka the Mondo Track. After an impressive match through Charlestown and an opening ceremony on Friday, 15 March, the three competing schools took to the track on Saturday, 16th and Sunday, 17 March. It was obvious that the three schools, Charlestown Secondary, Gingerland Secondary and the Nevis International Secondary, turned up with their top athletes, as a huge crowd on both days were thrilled with the many events. Over the 2 days, the athletes competed in such events as the javelin, the shot put, high jump, long jump, 100, 200, 400, 800, 1500, 4x100 and 4x400 meters. So thrilling was the event that several records were broken. The class champions were listed as follows. On the 14 females, Tyra Phillip, GSS, runner-up, Theresa Walters, CSS. On the 14 males, Jamal Lewis, CSS, runner-up, Tamale Wilkinson, CSS. On the 16 females, Tiana Liebert, CSS, runner-up, Najila Semple, GSS. On the 16 males, Akadiento Willett, CSS, runner-up, Kamali Newton, CSS. On the 18 females, Jashel Weeks, CSS, runner-up, Anik Jeffers of NISS. On the 18 males, Timothy Kane, CSS, runner-up, Beatrice Stanley, CSS. 18 plus females, Celine Hendrickson, CSS, runner-up, Tiana Nisbet of CSS. 18 plus males, Shima Keynes, NISS, runner-up, Leroy Chapman, GSS. And the overall positions, Champion School, Charlestown Secondary, second place, Gingerland Secondary, third, Nevis International.
Sit! And they're off on the 16 ball, then they come up the track, 100 meters to run. Oh, they come down the track here, Charlestown on the inside, Gingerland between there, Charlestown and Charlestown. Oh, they're going to do it, okay, do it. Oh, what a rush! Charlestown take gold and silver. And they're off as they come down here on 18 girls as they come down the track. Gingerland on the inside between the NISS as they come down here. Oh, the NISS look good as they come. It's going to be a close one to the finish. Close one to the finish. Oh, what a rush, NISS. Gingerland take gold, silver and bronze. And they're off on the 18 bars as they come down here. Gingerland on the outside and there's Charlestown on the inside. They're coming down with a bundle. Oh, look at the one on the outside from Charlestown. Charlestown. Oh, what a rush. Charlestown takes gold. Charlestown takes gold, Gingerland takes silver, and the bronze is to be decided. Sit! On the 20 girls off. Oh, they come down the track. Look at Charlestown in the middle here. Look like them Perkins as she come down here. To Charlestown. Celine is on the case as they come down the track. Who's going to take the gold for Charlestown? Oh, what a rush. Celine takes gold, Perkins takes silver, and GSS took the bronze.
The Nevis Island administration took time out to specially salute the efforts of the Nevisian athletes who participated and excelled at the 2019 Carifta Games in the Cayman Islands. It was a brief but very meaningful ceremony held at the NEPA Courtyard on Thursday, 25th April, and ably chaired by Director of Sports, Mr. Jamie Claxton. The athletes were Alexander Keynes, Khalil Roberts, Akadiento Willett, and Kemali Newton Roberts. Leroy Chapman was the only one not present on the day. Let's take in this excerpt.
These young men would have went to the Cayman Islands and performed credibly. Even though all of them didn't receive medals, they represented St. Kitts and Nevis very well. And for me, I'm proud to call them ambassadors, especially for Nevis. I'm a bit biased sometimes when it comes to Nevis, but I'm very proud to call them ambassadors of Nevis. They would have gone out and demonstrated their athletic talent, but also their commitment, dedication, discipline, and on the international, well, the regional and international scene shows that we have some very good athletes coming up here in Nevis, that they are not only good sportsmen, but they are overall good human beings.
I want to heartily congratulate the young people, the athletes who would have traveled to the Cayman Islands and would have done us proud in the Cayman Islands. I would ask that you continue as young people to develop your skill. You have great athletic talent, and of course we saw it on display when you were at your various school sporting events, as well as the Inter-High. I was very impressed at the Bank of Nevis Inter-High when I saw the excellent athletic ability on display there, and I believe that is what you took to the Cayman Islands, why you were able to get bronze.
So we have 4 youngsters who are represented here, and I think all of us were very proud when we saw you in the Cayman Islands performing not only for your country of St. Kitts and Nevis, but for the island of Nevis. We were exceedingly proud that you were able to medal, but even those of you who did not medal, we were proud that you were on the track and that you were representing us. You would have heard a lot about the Nevis Island administration, and my job really is to congratulate you, 1, and 2, to commit to you, to your coaches, to your parents, that whatever support we can provide, we will continue to provide. Nothing gives our island greater joy than when our people succeed. We have the politics sometimes and it gets in the way. But I will tell you, nothing brings our people together as much as when our people succeed. Once you do well, everybody becomes a supporter. That's the nature of life. And I am telling you that I'm exceedingly proud that you could have gone, and for all the countries in the Caribbean, many that are much larger, many that are much richer than St. Kitts and Nevis, you were able to produce a bronze medal. And I think that that is something that we should celebrate, and that is why we're here today, to celebrate you, to celebrate your coaches, to celebrate your parents, and to thank you for being good ambassadors for the island of Nevis.
On Sunday, 7th April, the Titans Track Club held its now annual Track Club Championships. An open invitation was extended to all of the established track clubs in the Federation. Disappointingly, only the 3 main clubs of Nevis showed up to participate in the event. The final results saw the Gladiators Track Club emerging as champions with 7 gold medals. Host Club Titans secured 2nd place, and Over the Top Track Club came in 3rd. The athletes participated in the following events: 4x100, 4x200, 4x400, 4x800, sprint medley, and distance medley. Now to archery. The St. Kitts Nevis representative archery team, which participated in a recent development tournament in the Dominican Republic, returned home in good spirits. The team members were elated to give a good report at the range in Bath Village. Let's take in this.
The tournament went great. It was a lot of work to begin with. We came up against 6 countries, and there were over 100 archers there. During that time, we shot at 30 meters, 15 meters, and 50 meters. And we shot a total of 72 hours per day over the 2-day session.
Nevis has a brand new basketball chief. At the AGM of the Nevis Amateur Basketball Association, NABA, held in January, a brand new president was voted into office. Long-serving and outstanding president Ms. Shakima Wanda Parry France, after previously saying "I do" then said, "I won't," as she indicated, "I do think that I need a break from the top position," and declined any offers to be so nominated. She, however, settled for a role as the new treasurer of the association. The brand new president-elect is Mr. Freddie Hanley, who is an experienced basketball player and has not only local knowledge of the game but has been exposed to administrative and other aspects of the sport in the USA. The full executive is as follows: President Freddie Hanley, Vice President Veronica Brandy, Secretary Jakita Thomas, Assistant Secretary Governor Hendrickson, Treasurer Shakima Wanda Parry France, Assistant Treasurer Kelvin Bramble. The PRO is Shoya Lawrence. Meanwhile, City Rebels took care of the Malcolm Gishad Basketball League. Do not focus on the fact that by the final whistle there was a discrepancy of all of 12 points between the two teams. You had to be there to literally smell the tension. It was Game 2 in the best of 3 as the 2019 edition of the Malcolm Gishad Basketball League climaxed on Sunday, 11th August. The two top teams in the tournament were battling out on center court. City Rebels had won Game 1 and were determined to close out the tournament that night, while the Dynamics team was vowing that there would definitely be a Game 3. Both teams started warily in the first quarter, with City Rebels enjoying the better of the exchanges by some 7 points. However, the Dynamics team gave it their all and tied up the second and third quarters in dramatic fashion. They entered the final quarter with all to play for, with the scoreline dicily placed, with City Rebels on 53 and Dynamics on 46. Not a lot of points were scored in that final quarter, as both teams upped their defensive game. But critically, City Rebels managed a 5 points lead, and therein lay the difference. Also, Game 3 of the 2019 edition of the High Schools Basketball Championship on Nevis was played at the Old Manor Court on the afternoon of Thursday, 9th May. Both schools went all out to ascertain their cheerleaders were in a position from very early in the game. It was a 1-all situation, with both teams securing a win each leading into the final game. It was a ding-dong battle at least right up to the third quarter, with CSS at one time leading by a mere 2 points. However, with their coach Jeffrey Lewis screaming his lungs out and ringing the changes as a fast and furious pace, suddenly the GSS team, despite the vociferous home support, wilted under the pressure and missed the hoop consistently and allowed numerous turnovers to the opposition. Towards the end of the game, it was obvious that the defending champion GSS, that is, had given up the ghost, as CSS converted hoop after hoop. When the final whistle was blown, the CSS team had gone clear to be overwhelming champions. Final score: CSS 49, GSS 37. The CSS team and their supporters then went wild into their celebrations. We take in these excerpts from that final game.
No. Hands up.
Now to cricket. The Leeward Islands Cricket Board announced the appointment of Mr. Stuart Williams as head coach of the Leeward Islands Hurricanes franchise team. The appointment took effect on October 1st, 2019 and will end on July 31st, 2021. Mr. Williams brings to the post vast coaching experience, which commenced in his native island of Nevis over 12 years ago with the national under-15, under-17 and under-19 teams. Since then, he has gained significant regional and international experience, as evidenced by the following appointments: head coach of the Nevis team in the Stanford T20 tournament 2006-07, head coach of the senior Leeward Islands team, assistant coach of the various West Indies A teams, assistant coach of various West Indies under-19 team, head coach of the St. Lucia Zooks, assistant coach of the West Indies World Champion T20 team, assistant coach of the West Indies B team, assistant coach with the women's team tour to UK, interim head coach of the senior West Indies team in the 2015 World Cup. The Elizabeth Pemberton Primary School will be missing its long-serving and outstanding coach Adelvin Phillip for at least 1 year in the first instance. Phillip received what termed as a long overdue contract with the Leeward Islands Hurricanes franchise team for the upcoming regional season. He explained that he will be based with the other members of the squad in St. Kitts and would basically be in training sessions and representative matches as a professional cricketer for the next year. I was looking forward to this call for a long time, he said, and stated quite categorically that now he has the chance, I'm going to hold it with my hands and squeeze it. So we wish Adelvin all the best. A bumper crowd was on hand on Sunday 12th May as the Village Premier Finals League took place at the Hard Times playing field. The first match for the third place between STA Jets and the Jabas team did not materialize as the Jabas team was a no-show. In the grand finals, the GT United Guyanese team won the toss and elected to put the Kings 11 into bat first. It turned out to be a huge mistake. Adelvin Phillip opened the innings with Jelani Manners and the two struck the ball to all parts of the ground, with Phillip in a particularly explosive mood, falling short of a well-deserved century by 7 runs when the overs ran out. The GT United team struggled from the start of the innings, and even though their two main batsmen in Alvin and Anand got starts, it was just not good enough on the day. Summary scores: Kings 11 154 for 5, Adelvin Phillip 93, Carlin Smith 16, Jelani Manners 13, Blair 2 wickets, Alvin 1, Azim 1. GT United 80 all out. Alvin top scored with 28, Anand got 18, Nisbet picked up 4 for 8, Manners 2 for 10, Huggins 2 for 10, Merchant 1 for 19. Kings 11 won the championship by all of 74 runs. Minister of Sports Honorable Eric Evelyn then presented the top teams and players with their trophies and monetary gifts as follows. Kings 11 champion team $1,000, compliments of the Honorable Van Zamri. Second place GT United $500, compliments of the Honorable Eric Evelyn himself. Third place SGA Jets $200, compliments of the VPL League organizers. Man of the finals, most runs and MVP of the tournament, Delvin Phillip, who remarkably only played 2 matches. Most wickets, Rakesh, and those were the top players. It was a very meaningful gesture by the Calypso Cricket Club and members of the Cotton Ground community as they hosted a fundraiser on Sunday 5th May at the Cotton Ground Playfield in aid of ailing former ace cricketer Livingston Jabada Lawrence. On the afternoon of Thursday 9th May, the Calypso Cricket Club formally presented Jabada with a check valued $6,200. Present in making the presentation were Derek Parry, Frank Munzak, and Jab Brown. It was explained that the money was mainly raised during the fundraiser, coupled with donations from a number of individuals. The normally verbose Livingston Lawrence, who is currently having difficulty with his speech, managed to say a simple thanks.
Thanks, Lord.
They said that they were not going to do a Guyana, and that is to win all of their preliminary matches and then lose in the finals. So on the evening of Thursday, 7th November, the Rollins team faced off with the GT United in the grand finals of the 2019 edition of the Tape Ball Cricket Tournament, hosted by the Sports Department and sponsored by the Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis. There was a full house at the ETW as busloads of people came in from Rollins and surrounding areas in Gingerland, and the Guyanese contingent would never be outdone. Rollins won the toss and elected to send the GT United team into bat first. Outside of a brisk start by Captain Anand and Hadilal, the batting generally struggled and they were restricted to 77 for 8 from the allotted 10 overs. However, runs on the board will always be runs on the board. Carlin Smith was due for a failure. After all, he had scored freely in every single game to take his team to win in every match, leading up to the finals. He proved that he's only a man, a human being. He went really early this time around, and the Rollins supporters literally held their breaths. However, on the night, Jaisal Allen put up his hand as the ultimate hero, and his 38 not out was sufficient to take his team across the bridge and grab a hold of the grand trophy and significant prize money. Summary scores: GT United 77 for 8 in 10, Hadilal 28, Bim 13, Elroy David 11 not out, Rian Solomon 2 for 21, Jevon Manners 1 for 17, and Carlin Smith 1 for 16. Rollins 79 for 4 in 9, Jaisal Allen 32, Bim, Hamijet, and Elroy David 1 wicket each. Let's get some excerpts.
Jimbo looking for a second run! He's gone! Brilliant! Excellent stuff by Rollins here. Oh, Marcus said Jimbo sacrificed his wicket there. Well, Manners for the bat of the lane, coming aboard to Mark. Mark is German, is gone! Brilliant! Oh, the young man been doing well all season with the ball. He's been doing well all season. He's been bowling well. In England, who captained England and managed England rugby team. Here's Navi coming back to O'Connell, trying to manage the West Ham. Oh, Tama! And the Liverpool are now in number for one, in number one. Ooh, pressure now. We have got to give them strength and health here. Here's Alan coming about the man. The man is driving. You're going to get someone there. The man on the cover feels well in the process. Man has dragged the single. They move one by one. They score something like 19 for 1 in over number 2. Is the ball again for Basso. They come the ball to Allen. Allen's walking around the corner. Runs there. The ball is heading for the boundary. The ball goes into the boundary for 4. Fine shot indeed. I have here 1 pluser. It seems like 79 here. We wait for the official of score here. Look at the signal there. The ball goes into the boundary for 4. Well, they're already jubilant here. The play magnificent indeed. And they deserve to win here. Magnificent stuff here. Right up in the back. Has done it once more. Oh my goodness. The wins up again for the shot here. Oh, Hubbard. Oh, the Rolling team have played well all season.
Antigua and Barbuda 2019 Limca champs. They truly played like a champion team, and despite several rain delays, the officials resorted to the Duckworth-Lewis method in the final stage of the game. The home team, Antigua and Barbuda, took the championship trophy for the 2019 Leeward Islands Masters Cricket Tournament played in Antigua in grand style. The grand finals was played at the All Saints, and St. Thomas's captain Hamish Anthony won the toss and elected to bat first. A fantastic innings by Neil Lewis propelled the team to what looked initially like an unsurmountable 183 for 3 in 20 overs. However, the home team was not backing down from a challenge. They opened with Wilden Cornwall and Trish Phillip, who made the intentions clear from ball 1. After 3 overs, when there was an interruption by heavy rain, the home team had stormed to 40 for 1. Wilden Cornwall had made his contribution and walked back to the pavilion. After a long delay and many debates, the officials decided that the home team would require 122 from 14 overs. Sylvester Joseph, Trish Phillip and Harry Lal then commenced a boundary hitting spree and truly entertained a huge crowd on hand. When they all perished, the remaining batsmen did not have much work remaining, and in fading light, the St. Thomas's team gave up the ghost with just about 8 runs remaining, thereby conceding the game and the winner's trophy to the home team. Summary scores: St. Thomas team 183 for 3 in 20, Neil Lewis 92 not out, Earl Waldron 41, Cornwall, Joseph and Francis 1 wicket each, Antigua Barbuda 161 for 4, Sylvester Joseph 56, Trish Phillip 38, Harry Lal 28, Wilden Cornwall 14, Waldron 2 wickets, Mead and Haywood got 1 each. Antigua and Barbuda won via the Duckworth-Lewis method. Meanwhile, the Nevis over 35 cricket team returned triumphantly from St. Martin after beating all of their opponents and taking the finals quite handsomely in the annual Luther Kelly over 35 tournament. With St. Croix absent, only 4 teams participated in this year's tournament: St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla and host St. Martin. Some of the matches were affected by rain, but that did not stop the organizers. They simply reduced the number of overs in those affected matches. Meanwhile, St. Kitts defeated St. Martin, and that set up nicely for a battle between the 2 teams from the Federation in the grand finals. St. Kitts got to 118 for 8 from the allotted 15 overs, but Nevis overhauled it quite comfortably to hold on to the big trophy and cash prize. Summarized scores: St. Kitts 118 for 8 from 15, Bernard Taylor 33, Jason Sadler 28, Howard Williams 17, Patrick Newton 4 for 13, Tonito Willett 1 for 13. Nevis 119 for 2, Tonito Willett 38, Carlin Smith 33, Adi Liber 21, Nevis won by 8 wickets. The St. Thomas's Primary School is the 2019 Primary School Cricket Champions on Nevis. This fact was established on Wednesday, 10th July at the Eat Willett Park, where the grand finals of the Runako Morton Tidisi Primary Schools Cricket Tournament took place. The St. Thomas's Primary engaged defending champions Ivor Walters Primary, and there was a sizable crowd on hand to witness the event. The toss was spun and won by St. Thomas's Primary, who did not hesitate to bat first. They were off to a great start with Tylo Nisbet and Javian Liebert batting impressively. When Liber departed, Adrian Williams joined Nisbet in an enterprise and partnership which helped in the main to get them to a more than competitive 104 in their 15 overs. When the Ivor Walters team responded, they lost an early wicket, but Omari Jones and Light Brown steadied the ship until Brown went caught at cover. Kenroy Freeman threatened briefly to light the park ablaze with his power hitting, but made the mistake to attempt a second run on a misfield. An alert Isaiah Sadler pounced on the ball with only one stump to aim at, slammed the bullseye, with Freeman not making it by a whisker. Jones also went by the run-out route, and the fat lady eased quietly into the park and told the choir to stand by. The St. Thomas's team completed the final rites and celebrated in a big way, because after all, they had defeated the defending champions of 2 consecutive years. Summarized scores: St. Thomas's Primary 104 for 4 from 15, Tyler Nisbet 30, Adrian Williams 28, Javian Libert 14, Omari Jones 1 for 12, Light Brown 1 for 21, Ethan Wallard 1 for 21, Ivor Walters 88 for 9 in 15, Omari Jones 26, Light Brown 15, Isaiah Sadler 3 for 10, Jaden Amory 1 for 19, Tyler Nisbet 1 for 21, St. Thomas's Primary winning by 16 runs. Now to football. The battle lines were well and truly drawn. It was Thursday, 28 November, and a sizable and vociferous crowd had gathered at the E.T. Willett Park for the grand finals in the Education and Sports Department's Primary Schools Football Tournament. It was indeed the big one, Charleston Primary versus the Ivor Walters Primary. The exchanges were intense from the very beginning, and both teams missed golden opportunities to score. However, on this occasion, it was the Charlestown team that struck the back of the net first. A free kick by one of their strikers, which the Ivor Walters goalie saw sailing over his head. He grabbed at it, and just like Butterfingers, it slipped through. The Ivor Walters Primary team upped their intensity to equalize. It was a corner kick on this occasion and a superb header by Jones, which tied up the game, 1 goal all, and the Ivor Walters team had equalized. At halftime, the scores were leveled at 1 goal to each team. No one was going anywhere soon. Both teams continued with full force, but at the end of regulation time, the scores remained 1 goal all. Referee Virgo ruled that the championship would be decided on penalties. As the members of the crowd looked on with bated breaths, it eventually ended at 3 goals to 1 in favor of the Ivor Walters team, and the match was awarded prematurely and erroneously to the Ivor Walters school. It was soon pointed out by FIFA referee Kimball Ward that the game was not yet complete. The Charleston Primary School, however, refused to continue the game even after the pleadings of some persons in the crowd. Some of the players even openly shed a few tears. The Ivor Walters team was therefore adjudged the 2019 champions of football in the primary schools of Nevis. Let's take in some excerpts.
It's gone in. Gone in. So Ivor Walters Primary with the kick now. Oh, that's a super kick. That's a super kick. The irrepressible bowler. Stopped. Bolo can't believe it. He must be one nervous customer because he's a star player. And everybody expects the star player to score. Oh, that's brilliant. He has knocked it in. A little style with it too. Somebody's saying, stop this one, Omari. Stop this one. Can he? Charleston Primary will want to put this one in to keep this game alive. Oh, that's a poor one. No good, says Virgo. As the goalie got, somebody's saying it might be a goal because it hit the, did it hit the inner part of the, somebody's giving some instructions to Virgo. They're saying it hit the inner part of, it's a goal. It's a goal. So, Ivor Walters Primary has won.
For the parents who still have doubts as to whether or not to allow their children to engage in sporting activities of their choice and insisting that they concentrate on their academics alone, they may well have to rethink that strategy. On Tuesday, 27th August, the youthful Zacchaeus Smith of Craddock Road stood in the presence of Minister of Sports and Nevis Honorable Eric Evelyn alongside his beaming mom. On that day, in a brief presentation ceremony, he was being congratulated for landing a full scholarship to pursue his dream of becoming an electrical engineer. Let's take in this excerpt.
Zakis, you went out there, you delivered, and you're now getting a fantastic opportunity to further your education, to increase in terms of your horizon, in terms of what you're going to learn, and in terms of actually getting a chance to play in the US as well. I want you to take this opportunity very seriously. I want you to go out there and represent Zakis, represent your family, represent Nevis, represent the Federation. And we want you to make us proud. We want you to continue to shine. When you go to the US, of course, there will be a lot of distractions. But we want you to keep in mind that you are in the US for the main purpose of getting an education and for doing well and shining, continue to shine, just like how we shone at those games in Florida. We want you, once you would have gotten this opportunity to go to university in Louisiana, to do extremely well. Keep your head on, stay focused, and remember at the back of your mind at all times you are there to get your education, to get to your degree, and we don't want to get disappointed in any way.
3 youthful Nevisians were included in the St. Kitts Nevis Under-17 football team, which traveled to Florida in April to take part in the CONCACAF Under-17 Championship and World Cup qualifier. The 3 players, brothers Dijal and Jalden Myers of Bath Village and Vibert Stevens of Brownhill. If the youthful females on Nevis are looking for a positive role model, maybe, well, just maybe, they should have a closer look at Bath villager Miss Yolinda Warner. On Tuesday, 25th June, Yolinda Warner, who is an assistant referee in the SKNFA, left the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis en route to France, where she participated in a women's referees 5-day training seminar. Accompanying Miss Warner was Kittitian female referee Shandor Wilkinson. According to an SKNFA release, the seminar was designed to help enhance the refereeing skills while providing exposure to the participants. A proud Malcolm George Ramsey, who is the current head of the St. Kitts and Nevis Football Association SKNFA Referees Department and FIFA referee instructor, indicated that the training exercise is sponsored by an international body for football known as Equal Playing Field. He stated that apart from the training, the young ladies will be involved in refereeing. They will be doing a 90-minute game, they'll be doing a 5-a-side tournament, and they'll have regular training throughout the seminar, on the field and off the field fitness training as well. The footballers of Nevis were yearning for some action on the pitch, and Curtis Morton Jr. heard their consternated pleas and decided to do something about it. In response, he initiated what he referred to as the Morton's King of the Ring football competition. It was a football competition which was new to Nevis but not his own invention. He explained that while he was pursuing studies in Trinidad several years ago, he was introduced to the format of football and decided to implement it for the benefit of the local footballers. The one-night tournament was played at Eatwell Park on Saturday 21st September, and Morton indicated later that he was amazed at the response not only from the participating teams but also from the sponsors and the huge number of spectators on hand. It is not a complex format, but certainly one which offers constant action and excitement. It involves teams of 7 players with a 6-a-side engaged on the pitch and 1 substitute. Only a specific portion of the regular football pitch is utilized, with 2 small goals, and matches are of 10 minutes duration with no breaks. The first team to score a goal wins the game, and if there is a draw at the end of the 10 minutes, 2 different teams will engage each other. The team that wins the majority of games within the stipulated time period would win the grand prize. Thanks to the several sponsors, the original prize money winner takes all of $250 was eventually increased to $300. When referees Virgo and Ordain called time, Team C would have completed 5 wins and were clear-cut champions. Morton thanked the sponsors for the night: Boddy's Restaurant, Ready Reality Architectural Designs, Chaz and Associates, Roberto Liebert, and J&K's Barbecue. He also had warm commendations for DJ Woodis, who kept the crowd lively with his music and humorous chatter, free of cost. It was a post-Father's Day Domino tournament, and it was organized and coordinated by the Gender Affairs Division of the Social Services Department. The action commenced on Saturday, 22nd June at the NEPA Courtyard. Chief Coordinator Pastor Wayne Maynard indicated that some 16 teams registered, and most of the preliminary games were hard-fought, and so despite the fact that the games commenced just after 2 p.m., the top 4 teams were not determined until somewhere around midnight. The organizers, in their wisdom, decided to postpone the grand finals and the playoff for the third and fourth spots until Tuesday, 25th June. So the 4 top teams showed up at the conference room of the Gender Affairs Division located at the GMBC building on Government Road on that Tuesday night. In the championship game, Eddie Keynes described it as a one-sided affair as his team, K's Electrical, easily disposed of the Cornwall Domino team with a scoreline of 3-1. The matchup for third and fourth spots, however, went the full distance as the Spanish team eventually endured to win over the Killers team in a contest that went the full distance. Pastor Wayne Maynard, at the brief closing ceremony, described the tournament as a resounding success. He congratulated all of the participating teams and noted that the losers do not want to feel the sting for too long and were already asking for another competition. He thanked his staff, volunteers and sponsors for helping to make the post-Father's Day event a success. He then presented the prizes and trophies to the winners as follows. Champion team, K's Electrical, $700 cash prize, a grand trophy and a dinner for one at Sunshine. Second place, Cornwall Domino Club, $300 prize and a trophy. Third place, the Spanish team, $180 and a large pizza at Lime Beach Bar. Fourth place, Killers, lunch for two at Revere House. Now to kite flying. The wind speed at the flats in Coal Hill on Good Friday 18th April was certainly not generally conducive to kite flying. The participants in the annual kite flying competition hosted by the SJCIC St. John's Community Improvement Club certainly had their work cut out in controlling and maintaining their respective kites, as they were usually tossed and turned about by the wind, and quite a number of them were busted, some never to be seen again. Some 22 kites were presented for the 5 judged categories and looked impressive on display, but everyone waited with bated breaths to see if they would fly for at least the required 5 minutes of airtime in order to really qualify. As a kite, the SJCIC motto on the day was, "It's not a kite if it doesn't fly." When the final results were announced by Halstead Sooty Byron, the winners who prevailed in spite of the excessive wind were Bookleaf Kite, consolation prizes to Naya Descent and Catalia Slack. None of the Bookleaf kites withstood the wind for the required time. Best designed papered kite, first Gino Liebert, second Chevier Smithon. Most creative kite, first Chevier Smithon, second Arthur Cabbage Farrell. Biggest kite, first Ishmael Farrell, 11 feet high, 11 feet wide, second Gino Liebert. Best flying kite, first Gino Liebert, second Kevin Isaac. There's a new interim body for Nevis Netball after a focused netball forum held by the Department of Sports at the Nevis Disaster Conference Room on Saturday, March 9th. The agenda listed a prayer by Kelvin Bramble, opening remarks from Jamia Claxton, Director of Sports, Minister's remarks by Honorable Eric Evelyn, netball updates from Vera Herbert, followed by an open discussion on netball in Nevis. Among the 26 in attendance, which gave segue to the establishment of a body to run netball in Nevis. The attendees then moved to a vote to elect an interim body, which will manage netball in Nevis until an annual general meeting of the Nevis Netball Association is called in January 2020. The interim body consists of President Mrs. Lydia Thompson Claxton, Vice President Mrs. Carol Liebert Ward, Treasurer Vera Herbert, Secretary Charlene Martin, Assistant Secretary Treasurer Sylvia Powell, Public Relations Officer Alistair Thompson. The floor members, Dio Hendrickson, Everett Sargent, Jasmine Charles. The new interim president gave brief remarks after being elected and stated, "I am shell-shocked at the fact that I have been elected, as my attendance at this forum was due to my genuine love of netball and to add my view on the improvement of the status of the game." She then expressed that she was honored to have been elected and will do her best to learn and gain knowledge from Ms. Grelhall, Vera Herbert, and the previous presidents. She further noted, "I am not going to be a president who acts as a lord over the body, but to serve and to work together with the executive members on the body and the general public and have the best interests for Nevis Netball at heart." Now to this item of general sports. The much publicized St. Kitts Nevis Sports Summit, SKNSS, concluded at the Brownhill Hard Court on the evening of Friday, 16th August in grand style. The over 30 participants were subjected to a review of what would have been learned during the course of the 1 week of intense training by top-notch trainers and coaches mainly out of Canada. They then later thrilled the sizable audience, which comprised of some of the parents and other family members, with an exhibition of their newly acquired skills center court. In his closing remarks, Chief Coordinator of the camp, Senior Sports Officer Kelvin Bramble, thanked the coaches and the center and the entire training team, the Nevis Island administration, and all of the wonderful sponsors who helped to make his dream a reality. He also thanked the parents, the participants, and everyone who had anything to do with the success of the camp. The coaches, in their final remarks, admonished the young athletes to ensure that they continue to work at their newly acquired skills and to make sure that the one-week camp has a lasting positive impact on their lives. And as we close out, of course, we close out on a sad note in terms of obituaries. James Teddy Blackman Leiber did not receive such a rousing ovation when he bowled out the Empire cricket team in a local club match and bagged the remarkable figures of 13 overs, 9 wickets for 27 runs. This was a different occasion. It was Saturday, 16 February, and his mortal remains were being laid to rest at the St. Thomas's Anglican Church's cemetery. Blackman suffered serious injuries in a motor vehicle accident in December 2018 and never recovered. He passed away on 27 January 2019. At the Thanksgiving service held in his honor, the church was jam-packed and the nearby tents and grounds were also filled with mourners. Among those present were Premier Mark Brantley, Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Honorable Eric Evelyn, and Honorable Spencer Brand. His mother, brothers and sisters, children, grandchildren, and many other family members and friends were also well represented on that day. Included in the many tributes paid were Kelvin Tabu Jubri out of Montserrat, who made the bold statement that Blackman was a Montserratian who lived in Nevis. The Queen City Taxi Association, the Nevis Cultural Foundation, the Masters International Choir, which had support from Masters representatives from throughout the Leeward Islands, Renford Dorr and his beloved Sugar Hill String Band. The service was preceded by an impressive procession, that is, from the St. Thomas's Primary School to the church, and after the service there was an equally impressive procession from the church to the final resting place in the ceremony. A glowing eulogy was presented by Pastor Dawn Jeffers. The Masters cricketers also paid special tribute in an honor guard, complete with upraised bats as the coffin was lifted from the church. NTV Sports once again expresses sincerest condolences to the family of the late cultural icon. Meanwhile, also making his eternal exit this year was Noel Archibald Seabrooks, a.k.a. Rat. He was born on 26 July 1946 and passed away quietly after an illness on 22nd August 2019. He was 73 years old. Seabrooks was a dedicated local umpire with the Nevis Cricket Association for many years. We extend condolences to his grieving family. Now, as I close out, I go to my two choice moments for the year. It was the culminating event of another exciting month of activities hosted by the Postal Services. A grand 15 overs per side tape ball cricket match was held at the Eat Willett Park on Saturday 9 November. The Postal Services team came up against a mixed civil service team. First choice moment, the batting of the Honorable Spencer Brand. Let's take in this.
This pitch now, it comes in to ball to the Honorable Spencer. It gets to your ball, your foot with delivery.
Choice moment number 2. The much anticipated cricket match between the Nevis and St. Kitts senior cricket teams took place at the E.T. Willett Park on Thursday, 1st August. The proverbial Battle of the Narrows attracted a huge crowd at the ETW, with the spectators totally enthralled in the match. The match ended in a historic tie. We go to the final moments of that really exciting game.
Here goes once more, moves in now to bowl. Off the edge, down towards third man. They're going back for the second? No. So well done, only a single. Looks like Louis strike. Races into ball. Back ball. I think he's gone. I think he's run out. He's run out. Tried to steal a run. And a Delvin Phillip hit the stump direct. The crowd goes wild. Races in now. This is it, folks. That ball. And this is the stump. They're running. They're running. Is that a tied game? I think it's a tied game. I think it's a tied game. I think it's a tight game.
And so, in conclusion, it was a year of high and lows, of winners and losers, but I believe it is fair to say that all of our dedicated athletes tried and gave it their all. However, there are still some sporting disciplines that are languishing due to a lack of proper leadership or other issues, and we are hoping that they will be more dynamic in the coming year. I am Curtis Morton, wishing you a blessed holiday season and a spirit-filled and fantastic 2020. Over and out.